member across the way for the question. In fact, I was waiting for it last week, I tell the honourable member. Mr. Speaker, protecting the rights of all residents of Newfoundland and Labrador, Mr. Speaker, including the transgender community, is of the very utmost importance, Mr. Speaker, to this department, to this Premier, and to this government. Mr. Speaker, this government believes that everyone has the right to be free from discrimination, and we are committed, Mr. Speaker, to ensuring that there is no unnecessary barriers in accomplishing this.
The Honourable Member for St. John's Centre.
Mr. Speaker, I asked the Minister, why would she force our people to go to court for a basic human right about safety and dignity for trans people?
The Honourable the Government House Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And the member opposite would know, first of all, that this is an issue currently before the court. So we're not about at all to entertain a discussion in the House of Assembly on the merits of that case. What I will say to the member, though, is she ought to recognise it was our government who's made significant investment into changing the human rights legislation of this province. And I happen to be the Minister of the day who did that just last year to provide for greater protection for people such as the one that the individual is describing. So we certainly firmly believe that people in society have rights and that their rights ought to be protected. But we're not about to debate the merits of an individual case that's before the courts here on the floor of the House of Assembly.
Member for St. John's Centre has time for a very quick question.
Mr. Speaker, I asked the Minister, will she change the Vital Statistics Act, given that this is a safety issue for trans people, individuals in the province everywhere?
The Honourable Government House Leader has time for a quick reply.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and we certainly will continue to do due diligence on this particular file as we've been doing for many years. The case that's being discussed here today, we'll wait the outcome of the court, and if there's some recommendations there that suggest we ought to change the legislation, then we'll certainly follow the recommendations of the court.
Time for question period has expired. The Honourable Member for the Bay of Islands on a
Mr.
point
Speaker,
of order.
questions to the Minister of Education. She clearly read from documents which she handed to the...
Wow, still recording here? Let's get some light. It's Jennifer McCreath. That was an impromptu live question in question period, December 10th, 2014. Glad to see this issue raised in the House. And how interesting. There's actually one inaccuracy there. Yes, the issue here, of course, is whether or not trans people should be allowed to change their ID documents without having surgery. There was a human rights case in Ontario. In Alberta, my understanding, there was not an actual case, but they proactively, as did Manitoba now, change their laws proactively and accordingly. I've sent emails to both Minister Cornect and former Minister of Service NL Brazel back in July suggesting a proactive change, and there's been no movement at all. Disappointing to learn that government's not going to be proactive. We just heard Minister Cornect say that he wants to prevent discrimination, yet he's unwilling to take proactive actions to do this. He wants to wash his hands of this, force trans people to go to court to get a judgment. Going to court could be time-consuming and expensive, and I think it's shameful. Sorry, Minister Cornect and Darren King, you're going to lose this one because all other provinces have lost, and it's unfortunate that people like me and other trans people have to keep going to court to get our government to give us fair treatment. Shame on all of you. I'm really disappointed.